The documentary takes us through rough, snowy terrains and the ups and downs of navigating sponsorship deals, morality, absurdity, and personal relationships. A story of patience, human endurance, and determination. 14 Peaks shatters the boundaries of how physical strength is often perceived by us. Welcome back to Documentary Recap. In today's video, we'll be going through a 2021 documentary film about Project Possible, a remarkable plan by a high-altitude climber to climb the 14 highest 8,000-er peaks in the world, titled 14 Peaks, Nothing is Impossible. The documentary begins in April 2019 with Nirmal Purja, a Nepalese high-altitude climber, attempting the Annapurna Peak, which is statistically the most dangerous peak with an altitude of greater than 8,000 meters in the world. Nirmal, fondly called Nims, asks the viewers to not be afraid to dream big as he walks in a sea of snow. He joins with David Bowie, a Canadian climber who has failed several times on the Annapurna. However, Purja's infectious optimism encourages Bowie to tag along with his team. On the 23rd of April, they successfully reached the summit, and the latter comments that they were able to push through, only because Nims believed they would be successful. The next day, Purja returns back up the mountain to rescue a stricken climber who's later identified as Wee Kin Chin, a Malaysian climber. Though the rescue mission is successful, Chin dies just days later in Singapore. Because of the rescue mission, Purja loses his weather window for the Dhaulagiri Peak, and so his team summits in a bad weather on the 12th of May. Next, they summit Kanchenjunga just 3 days later in a single 22-hour push passing all camps. As they are descending from the summit, Purja and his team encounter two injured Indian climbers, Kuntal Karar and Biplab Baija, at 8,450 meters while they're still in the peak's death zone. Despite giving them oxygen and waiting for help for 12 hours to no avail, one climber dies in Purja's arms, whereas the other passed away at Camp 4. Here, Nims also suffers high-altitude cerebral edema while helping a third lost climber. Behind schedule, Purja begins to question himself after the deaths that took place on Annapurna and Kanchenjunga. Nevertheless, he plows through, summiting the three neighboring 8,000ers of Everest and Lhotse on the 22nd of May and Makalu on the 24th of May, in a record-breaking 48-hour push. He takes a photograph of the large queue that had formed at the Hillary Step on Everest, which goes viral and is reprinted on the front page of the New York Times. The documentary flashed back to the period before the climb started. Here, we see interviews from Purja's wife and brothers about his early life and career in the Gurkhas and Special Boat Squadron, where he had a near-death experience from a sniper bullet to the face. His family talks about the sacrifices and financial risks that he took to make Project Possible happen. Viewers also get to know that his mother isn't well. Back to present day, Purja moves to the Karakoram 8,000ers summiting Nanga Parbat on the 3rd of July. While descending, he falls 100 meters and is thankfully saved when he grabs hold of a random fixed rope that had been left behind. He tells the camera that he always tells himself that he won't die today. And then he summits Gasherbrum 1 on the 5th of July and Gasherbrum 2 on the 18th of July. When he arrives at K2, spirits at the base camp are low. High levels of avalanches that day meant that most teams were preparing to abandon their climbs. Purja's team starts a small party to lift everyone's spirits. The next day, they begin climbing K2 and lay down fixed ropes in the dangerous bottleneck section of the climb at around 1 a.m. when the snow is the hardest and most stable. He summits K2 on the 24th of July, and over the next 2 days, 24 other climbers used the fixed rope they had laid down to summit the mountain. 2 days later, on the 26th of July, Purja summits Broad Peak and finally completes a 23-day push to climb the 5 8,000ers in the Karakoram range. However, at this point, he has to rush back to Kathmandu when his mother suffers from a heart attack. On the 23rd of September, he returns to summit Cho Oyu, followed by Manaslu on the 27th. He then spends a few weeks lobbying Nepali politicians to help him secure a permit to climb the Shishangpangma in Tibet from the Chinese. He successfully summits his final peak on the 29th of October 2019. From the summit, he calls his dying mother to tell her that they did it. At the end of the documentary, we see Purja reunited with his mother, as the world media celebrates the conclusion of Project Possible. What did you think of this documentary? Comment your thoughts below.